Have you ever wondered who you are, where you came from? Why do you exist? Why are women and men so different? Why do we struggle to find that perfect mate? This is part 3 in the series, The Light of Man, the Dark of Woman, and the War of the Sexes, in which we'll be looking into these questions and finding out what God has to say about it. This study will focus on the creation of woman and how together Adam and woman were made in the image of God's glory and why. Let's begin. Picking up with Genesis 1:26a again, we see that, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness." In our last study, we learned that the soul of Adam was made in the image of the bright light of God's glory, the wisdom of the righteousness of God. The honorable, upright character of Adam and his physical strength was the manifestation of the righteousness of God in man. The wisdom of the righteousness of God is the knowledge of God, his power, and his glory, the light of life. This is the understanding of the spiritual nature of life. Adam was created righteous, but not holy, and in order to be made in the likeness of God in its fullness, mankind would also need to reflect the holiness of God, the soft, dark light of God's glory. Mankind, both male and female, together were made in the image of God's glory, the light of life, to reflect the likeness or character of God. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. In order to be in the presence of God, mankind would need to be able to withstand the power of the light of life, the glory of God. Meaning mankind would need to be designed to withstand the power emitted from the power of God's righteousness and holiness. Mankind cannot live in the kingdom of God in his presence without being in harmony, balance, and order with God. Mankind needed to be made into the likeness of God, the image of his glory. Adam needed a complementary opposite that would carry the soft, dark light of the holiness of God. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man." Genesis 2:23. Woman was taken directly from Adam, a son of God, who was created holy, making woman of the power of the holiness of God. Adam's masculine spirit with the light of life or energy of God was used to create woman's spirit through division. In contrast to Adam's bright light, the female soul was designed of darkness to bear the soft, dark light of the wisdom of the holiness of God, making woman of a faithful and dedicated character, and her physical beauty was the manifestation of the holiness of God and woman. The female soul was made in the image of the soft, dark light of God's glory. The wisdom of the holiness of God is the knowledge of darkness, which is the understanding of the things that are created to receive light. This is the knowledge of life, good and evil, or the understanding of the physical nature of life. Woman was made holy, but not righteous. Genesis 1:4 reads, "And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness." Adam and woman were designed to complement and receive one another in soul and flesh. Adam designed to desire and receive the holiness of God from woman. Woman designed to desire and receive the righteousness of God in man. Adam's soul had to be refined with the holiness of God, and the soul of woman with the righteousness of God. Adam and woman were not made perfect. They were to be perfected by God through marriage. Without the holiness of God, Adam was incapable of understanding the physical nature of life, good and evil, or darkness. Without the righteousness of God, woman was incapable of understanding God, his power, his glory, or the spiritual nature of life. Adam understood the spiritual nature of life, and woman understood the physical nature of life. Together in harmony, their souls possessed the wisdom of God and life in its entirety. This made mankind, male and female, the image of God's glory, both light and dark. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Genesis 2:25. Together, Adam and woman were the image of the glory of God, possessing both the wisdom of the righteousness of God and the wisdom of the holiness of God. Now, in harmony with God, Adam and woman were covered by God with the light of his glory like a shield. They were unashamed and unaware of their nakedness because of God's glory covering their nakedness or their lack of light. In closing, we see that Adam and woman, both male and female, together were made in the image of God's glory, the light of life, reflecting the spiritual character of God. Adam was made in the image of God, physically, made in the image of the bright light of God's righteousness in his character, and Adam was not created light, just the image of it. Woman came from Adam. As life, Adam was without light, making woman made in the image of darkness or life, things created to receive the light of God. Woman was made of the power of and in the image of the holiness of God, the soft, dark light of God's glory. Females were created in the image of darkness or life, having masculine spirits of darkness. All spirits are created masculine, having originated from God. All spirits created by God have the light of life or God's glory within them. God's glory within our spirits is the energy of life. Woman was made with the feminine soul of darkness, designed to carry the wisdom of the holiness of God, the soft dark light or God's glory. And she was made to have a faithful, dedicated character. Woman had feminine flesh made to be the physical reflection of the holiness of God, the beauty of God. Adam and woman were not perfect, they were just people. Adam and woman were complementary opposites that were not made perfect. Adam was created righteous but not holy. Woman was created holy but not righteous. Mankind can never be perfect, only refined by God. Mankind's covering, the light of the glory of God, is the hope of God's people. When mankind is in harmony with God, made in his image, mankind can receive from God the light of God's glory as our covering, which makes it physically possible for us to be in the presence of God in his kingdom. Are you a female that is confused about who you are or where you are going in life? I challenge you to pray to our Father to lead you in his will. Do you long for harmony, order, and balance with your husband or wife? Do you ever wonder why relationships seem so impossible at times? Next, we'll be looking at what went wrong in the Garden of Eden as we continue on with our study of the light of man, the dark of woman, and the war of the sexes. Thank you.